Hi, I'm Gavin Glixman, you're watching Sun Boxing, joined today by George Groves. George, here for the launch of the latest Call of Duty game. Do you like sitting down with the odd computer game and relaxing?
Yeah, I do. It's anything to take your mind off of boxing sometimes. You know, I'm in the gym doing my thing, but when I'm at the gym, I like to do nothing, something that will disengage my brain in certain ways, and game is one of them.
I was watching you earlier on the game. Is this one of your favourite computer games?
Yeah, it's cool. It's fast-paced. I like something with a bit of adrenaline. Nothing that's going to get too heated, but you know, you're in it and you got to stay alive. So that's a cool game.
Talking of fast-paced, your first fight with Froch, you came out of the blocks. You told Carl beforehand that you'd give him 3 punches and he'd know you were there. He certainly knew you were there when you put him on the mat. Were you surprised by that?
No, not at all. I said it beforehand and it came true in the fight. Carl is what he is, and unfortunately for him, I'm too good for him. Everyone knows that now. You know, I tried to tell people before, and a lot of people didn't really think I was up to the challenge, but clearly showed that I am up to the challenge and more, and it'll be more of the same this time around.
What gave you that confidence before the fight? Was there one certain thing that was it watching tapes of Carl or watching him in action?
You break it down technically, I know that I got the beating of him, and then you look at the other sides of boxing that aren't physical, whether it be emotional or mental or spiritual or anything. I've got him beaten always. To this point, he's having to see a sports psychologist, I believe, in the build-up to this fight, because he can't deal with me being around him. But by the sounds of it, he needs a psychiatrist, not a psychologist. So for that, I wish him luck, and not just in boxing, in life, because it's a sport. The professionals, you need to hold it together. He can't do that at the moment, and at the moment, he's got a big fight ahead of him at Wembley Stadium, and he needs to hold it together.
We saw that it bubbled over when you were both at Wembley Stadium for the press conference. Carl pushed you. Did that take you by surprise?
Well, it didn't, because he's a professional and he's been in the sport a long time now, and I'd expect him to behave professionally. He didn't. He laid his hands on me. You know, it was a push. Don't mean much at the end of the day, but it could have been a punch, could have been something else. He came down with his brothers, who are now his entourage, and you know, they were getting very vocal and trying to play a part in the build-up to this fight. But the fight is between me and Carl Froch, and the fight will take place on May 31st. So for that reason, he needs to hold it together. He needs to keep himself in check. And I had to have a word with his promoter, Eddie, and say, listen, Eddie, you need to keep the boy in check, because he can't be laying his hands on me. Still feel the same way now. It's the truth. He's supposed to be a professional. I'm waiting to see if he can be a professional, because he hasn't shown any signs of it so far. For that reason, I wish him luck.
When you spoke to Eddie Hearn and obviously said that he needs to keep Carl in check, is that something that you were tempted to walk away at that point, or would that happen? Is there something that Carl can do to wind you up that much where you just say, you know what, I don't need this?
Carl don't wind me up at all. Don't bother me at all. There's not one thing that he does that affects me. Don't believe everything that Eddie Hearn says. Eddie Hearn works for Carl Froch. He doesn't work for me. He's not my promoter. So when he sits there and says, oh, there's big egos between the pair of them, they both don't like each other, he's not speaking on my behalf, because me and Eddie don't have those conversations. He maybe have those conversations with Carl because they work together, but he doesn't work with me. So, Eddie's doing his best to patch up a badly presented Carl Froch these days. The fact that he doesn't speak correctly, and he says the wrong things, and he rubs people up the wrong way, and he can't even behave professionally at a press conference. He's having to be that doting mother about defending his disobedient child, and that's pretty much the best way I can sum him up right now. He's doing a hell of a job of it. I give him credit for that, but this fight is bigger than the pre-fight battle. This people will come and see a good fight on the fight night, and they'll come and see me take Carl Froch's head off.
As you said, you're not with Eddie Hearn. What is your promotional status at the moment?
I'm promotionally free, self-managed. I look after my own affairs. This may not be like this for much longer, but for the time being, it will be like this. It would be nice to have some sort of promotional backing going into the last fight, into the next fight, because the last fight I didn't, and I had somewhat questionable decisions go against me. Since then, I've fought my corner very, very successfully, managed to get the rematch that I wanted, and Carl Froch has been mandated, and we're fighting at Wembley. So at this moment in time, I'm in the driver's seat.
It's a hard enough sport as it is, just with your training and the fighting itself. So does that just put extra stress on you, though, the fact that you've not got a promoter at the moment?
No, not at all. Not at all. If If I've got a contract needs to be read, I've got a solicitor. If I want some sparring, I speak to my trainer. If I want to know how much I want to get paid, well then I'll decide on that. You know, if I want to know what colour gloves I want to wear, well I'm going to decide on that. I don't need anyone else to make those decisions for me. At the moment in time, I don't need the promoter who's going to put on an event, discuss TV, fees and site fees and all these things. You know, that's Eddie Hearn's job at Matchroom because he's promoting my next fight. But in the future, yeah, of course, I don't want to be doing that job. I don't need to be doing that job, so I'll look to settle with someone. Plenty of good offers out there, so I'll take my time with it.
As you said, Wembley Stadium, it's going to be packed, tickets have flown out already. What kind of feeling is that going to give you when you step out on fight night?
I think fight night I'll just be in the zone. I'll just be doing my thing, just like if it was a fight at Manchester Arena, Wembley Stadium, you'll call in front of 1,100 people. It doesn't matter to me. I never let the occasion get to me. I never feel the presence of a big fight or not. You sort of allow yourself to absorb that after the fight. The last fight was pretty big. You know, it was a sellout crowd and it was a great atmosphere. And as I say, I only ever got to experience that when the fight was stopped and I could look out at the crowd and see everyone cheering me, which was, of course, a lovely feeling. This time we're stepping into unprecedented ground. You know, there's no other boxers here in the UK that have boxed in front of a crowd that big, and they could get bigger. And it looks like there's going to be another 20,000 tickets released soon. So that'll be something, hopefully for the record books, but also for me when I'm retired and pipe and slippers, look back and say, you know, we sold out Wembley Stadium.
I know you can't reveal too much, but as you said before the first fight, you told Carl about the 3 punches. Have you got a message for him this time?
Yeah, of course, yeah, and he'll get his message when the time's right. Carl can't change. I tell Carl exactly what I want to tell him, when I want to tell him. Everything for a reason. Everything for a reason with this fight, with this build-up, with everything. There's not one thing that's left to chance. We're working towards perfection. We don't expect to get full perfection, but we want to be as close to it as possible. And for that reason, nothing's going to be left to chance. We're not going to gamble with anything. Everything's going to be calculated and for a reason.
I was going to say, as much as you stay cool, calm and collected, it looks very much as though you're enjoying talking to Carl. You can see Carl getting wound up and you seem to feed off of that. Is that the case?
Yeah, it's fun. Like, you take a bit of pleasure out of your work sometimes, and talking to Carl is it's a pleasurable thing because he can't hold it together. He contradicts himself. He's like a broken record. He says things that don't really make much sense sometimes, and when you pull him on it, he goes, "Oh, I don't want to talk about that no more." So, you know, this time he's decided that he's going to try and be as quiet as possible, and he's going to let other people do talking for him. Well, that won't work either, because you can hide from me on Twitter, Carl. You can unfollow me so you don't get my message anymore. I'm not actively hunting you out, but something needs to be said. I'll say it when we go to a press conference. If you can't do a face-to-face with me, you're giving away far too much. You know, you have to at least put on a brave face and look at me. Stop giving me such an advantage. You know, he's the champion, and yet he's been forced to take a fight he doesn't want to take. He's the champion, yet he's being forced to come to London and fight in my backyard. He's being forced in so many different ways. I've never seen a challenger have so much of it his own way.
Obviously, before the first fight, everybody viewed you as the underdog. I'm sure you didn't believe that. Going into the second fight, do you think now people's perception has changed?
I don't really mind, you know. We made a song and dance about the media not being so one-sided because we didn't know whether it had a bias effect on the outcome of the fight. The fact that Carl Froch tells everyone he's a warrior and everyone writes it in the press, people start to believe it, and everyone says that I've got a glass chin, and people start to write it, and then people start to believe it, and then as soon as we get to the 9th round, the championship rounds, Hal Foster jumps in and stops the fight when there's no reason to stop it. So for that reason, yeah, we want our voices to be heard a little bit more, but at the same time, whatever I say, I'm going to have to back up with actions, you know, and that's what I did in the first fight. People know what I'm all about now, so whether people think I was lucky or Carl Froch wasn't fully prepared or started slow, whatever, it doesn't matter. They know that I can fight, so whether they'll back me or not, I'm not too fussed about it, but at the same time, as long as people understand what I'm all about, and the media understand that as well, which I'm sure they really do now, so we're on our way.
George, brilliant. Thanks for your time. Best of luck for May 31st. Cheers, mate.